What is the difference between the Islam and Iman? If you can give some examples between the Ahle Islam and Ahle Iman, and same question I will go after you to Qibla Hassan Raza to explain in the Urdu. Please.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. So again, a very good question. I feel like I prompted that question, but it's a very good question. What is Islam? What is Iman? Right? There's a big difference between the two. Now, to look at it literally, Islam is what, as I said before, submission to the presence of God. But then Iman is also submission to the presence of God, but Iman has something that is one step further than being a Muslim, which is what? It's voluntarily submitting and complete obedience to God out of your own free will. That's the main literal definition of the two. Submitting to God, but also submitting to God in complete submission out of your own free will and acting upon the acts of the religion is Iman. An example that I like to give is the difference between Islam and Iman, just in simple terms. Being a Muslim is great, no doubt, but being a mu'min is different. Why? It's like being in a house with no heat on. What's the difference between you being outside and what's the difference between you being inside? In the winter, it's cold outside, it's cold in your house. Being a mu'min is being in the house with the heat on, meaning that you're benefiting from that. So there's the book that was written by one of our great Muraja al-Dham, in which he wrote that there are 18 differences between a Muslim and a mu'min. There's 18 differences between Islam and Iman. Now, I'm not going to be able to go through all 18, but inshallah, I will mention one or two differences, and then we'll give it to Maulana Hassan Raza to carry on with the question. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam has said in a very famous narration, he said that al-Islamu ala niyatun. Islam is the apparent declaration. Okay? But then he said, wal imanu sariratun, which is that Iman is the hidden belief. There's an apparent Islam. There's a hidden in your heart, Iman. That's the differentiation the Prophet made. In Bihar al-Anwar, in volume 68, page 246, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam has said, al-imanu ikraran wa amalun. Islam or Iman is confession and acting upon it. Wal Islamu ikrarun bila amalin. Right? Islam is to have the belief and the confession without acting. Iman is to have the belief but also acting upon the belief. And also in Asul al-Kafi, volume 2, page 24, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam again has narrated a hadith in which he said, Iman, and this is the main point that I want to make, Iman is to recognize and believe in the wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. That's the difference, Sayyid Shani. You can be a Muslim, then you can be a mu'min. Your Muslim is great, but the difference is a mu'min accepts the wilayat of Amir al-Mu'mineen and his family, the Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And if you don't accept the wilayat, you will never be a mu'min, which is why whenever we refer to Imam Ali, we don't call him Amir al-Muslimin, do we? What do we call him? Amir al-Mu'mineen. He is the Amir of the Mu'min, the one who has Iman. Allah says in the Quran, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu, O you who believe, not O you who submit, not O Muslims, O believers. There's a difference between being a Muslim and being a mu'min. And finally in the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in chapter 49, verses 14 and 15, he says to the Prophet that the Bedouins say, meaning the Arabs who wander the deserts, they say to you, O Muhammad, we have believed. We are mu'min, we are believed. But say to them, O Muhammad, you have not yet believed. But instead say we have submitted. Meaning what? Meaning that you are not mu'min, you are Muslim. So the Quran is showing there's a difference between being a Muslim and being a mu'min. The Prophet is saying that being a Muslim is something else. It's the apparent belief declaration. Iman is the hidden. And Imam Sadiq is saying that amal and acting upon your belief is a mu'min, Whereas just having the belief is a Muslim, and he concludes with the wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt. The wilayat of the Ahlul Bayt is the difference between a mu'min and a Muslim, meaning the house is going to have the heat on or is going to have the heat off.
बहुत शुक्रिया, thank you very much.